It is the middle of the night, and in a small mudbrick room lit by a single oil lamp, a woman is in danger. She has been in labor for hours. The women of her household are with her, her mother, an aunt, a neighbor who has done this before, and at the center of them is the one they sent for, the midwife, the woman whose hands know this work. But she is not the only expert in the room. Someone else has been called too, and as the labor turns hard as it starts to go wrong, that person leans in and begins, quietly, to chant. The chant is not to help the mother push. It is spoken because they believe there is something else in the room, something that has come for the woman and the child she is trying to bring into the world. In that room, tonight, delivering this baby safely will take two different kinds of work: a pair of hands to bring the child out, and a set of words to fight off the thing that wants them both. This is what childbirth was, 4,000 years ago in the cities of Mesopotamia. Not only the most ordinary thing in the world, the thing that kept the world going, but also the most dangerous night of a woman's life, and a battle against an enemy nobody in the room could see. Let's talk about what that night was really like. The danger came first, and everyone in that room understood it exactly. There was no surgery. There was no way to stop a serious bleed. If the baby was turned the wrong way, or came too early, or simply would not come, there was very little anyone could do but wait and hope and try. Women died this way, and babies with them. The danger was familiar enough that an entire body of ritual, prayer, and protective magic grew up around the single moment of birth. And that surviving mountain of protective spells is itself the measure of how frightening this was. And the people of the time did not soften it in their words. They wrote about a woman in labor the way they wrote about a soldier in a battle. One incantation meant to be spoken over a difficult birth describes the mother as fighting in her own blood, surrounded, in their haunting phrase, by the dust of death. Another describes the baby stuck fast inside, the mother's eyes failing so she cannot see, her lips sealed shut. These are some of the most unflinching lines the Bronze Age left us. And they were written for exactly this moment. A woman in the dark, fighting for two lives, with the odds against her. So who was the enemy? Because to them the danger was not really medical. It had a name, and a face, and a story. Her name was Lamashtu. Lamashtu was a demon. And specifically, she was the demon of this one terrible thing. She killed mothers. She caused miscarriages. She stole newborn babies from the room and killed them. And here is the detail that made her more frightening than almost anything else in their world. She did it on her own. Most demons in Mesopotamian belief acted on orders, sent by a god to punish some particular sin. Lamashtu was not sent. She chose. She came for mother and child because she wanted to, and no prayer of apology could call her off because she was not there to punish anyone. She was just there to take. They knew exactly what she looked like, too. In the way she was pictured, she has the head of a lioness, a hairy body, long claws for hands, and the taloned feet of a bird. She is shown suckling a dog at one breast and a pig at the other, a monstrous mockery of a nursing mother. It is a deliberately awful image, the figure who should give life, twisted into the one who takes it. And her origin only made her stranger. Lamashtu was no lowly gutter spirit. She was the daughter of Anu, the sky god himself, born among the gods in heaven. But she was violent and rebellious by nature, and the stories say she was cast out of heaven for it, sent down to roam the earth. So the thing coming for the newborn in that room wasn't some nameless monster from the dark. It was a fallen daughter of the highest god there was, doing what she did out of nothing but her own will. And keeping her out was as much a part of the night as the birth itself. This is the part that reframes the whole scene. To us, delivering a baby and fighting a demon are two completely different activities. To them, they were happening in the same room, at the same time as one connected effort, and they divided the work between two kinds of expert. There was the midwife, the woman with the knowing hands who did the physical work of the birth, positioning the mother, easing the delivery, catching the child at the end. And there was the ritual specialist, the exorcist, the ashipu, whose job was the invisible battle, reciting the incantations to open the way for the child and to drive Lamashtu back out through the door she had come in. One handled the body, the other handled the enemy. And around them both, the women of the household kept up their own defenses. Because the defenses were everywhere, the mother wore amulets during the labor itself, charms carrying Lamashtu's image pinned with a spell to bind her. Families buried small figurines, often little clay dogs, under the threshold of the house, or set them in the windows, guardians placed at exactly the points where a demon might slip in. The words spoken over the mother were not encouragement in our sense. They were incantations, formulas aimed at the thing in the room and not at the woman at all. Picture what that means about that small, crowded room. It held a woman in labor, the women of her family, a midwife working with her hands, and a ritual expert working against a demon, medicine and magic side by side. Because to them, a hard birth and a demon's attack were not two different problems. They were the same problem, seen from two sides at once. Now, with the enemy named and the room defended, the actual mechanics. How did a Bronze Age woman physically give birth? Not lying down. That is a much later idea and in some ways a worse one. She gave birth upright, squatting or kneeling, letting gravity do the work it is built to do, and often she did it on a pair of bricks. And elsewhere in the Bronze Age world, we get something even more tangible. In Egypt, archaeologists found an actual birth brick, and it shows the idea perfectly. The birth brick is one of those details that sounds strange and turns out to be quietly brilliant. A low support under each foot, raising the mother into a supported squat so gravity helped, and the woman catching the baby had room to work. The Egyptian example is beautifully painted. The mother, the newborn, the helping women, and protective spirits watching over them all. It's Egyptian, not Babylonian, so it widens our picture rather than pins down one Mesopotamian household. But it's the closest thing we have to a photograph of what this moment looked like anywhere in the Bronze Age. A woman upright, held, bringing a child into the world with the help of other women's hands. Around her was not a doctor and a machine, but a circle of women. The midwife in front, ready to catch the child. Women at either side to hold her arms, to take her weight, to tell her she could do it. Every woman in that room had either done this herself or would, and the knowledge of how, when to wait, when to help, what to do when it went wrong, was passed from woman to woman, hands to hands, almost never written down. That last part matters, and it is a real loss. The people writing the tablets were men, scribes, exorcists, priests, and so what survives from that room is overwhelmingly the demon and the ritual, the parts men were involved in. The actual expertise, the practical genius of the women who did this work every day, mostly lived in their hands and their voices and died with them. We know more about Lamashtu than we know about the midwives who fought her. If everything went well, the night ended in small, careful acts. The baby was washed, sometimes rubbed with salt, wrapped tight in swaddling cloths. Even cutting the cord was treated as a fragile, guarded moment because the danger was not believed to end the instant the child arrived. And in the centuries after the Bronze Age, the fight against Lamashtu grew stranger still. Later Mesopotamians, well into the Age of Iron, started fighting fire with fire. To drive off the demon who killed mothers, they summoned a second demon to stand against her, a wind demon named Pazuzu, hideous enough to frighten even her. Pregnant women wore his snarling face as a charm. They fought a monster with a monster? But that is a later chapter, a thing their descendants did, long after our woman in the lamplit room. For her, on that night, there was no second demon. There was a circle of women, a handful of clay dogs in the windows, an old chant against the dust of death, and a pair of hands that knew the work. And if those hands were good, and the night was kind, then by morning there was a washed and salted and swaddled child breathing in the room, and for one more birth, in one more house, Lamashtu had not won.